Hi, friends. I am Jennet Ingle. I'm the happiest musician. If you are following this on YouTube, would you go ahead and click subscribe for me? That way, you always know when I drop a new episode, and it's easier for other people to find my channel and become themselves happier musicians. Thank you. I wanted to talk today about a topic that has been coming up with my clients recently a lot. It is about the dribbles of time that you find yourself using or wasting in a day. Have you noticed that when you're teaching and you have like 10 minutes between students or 20 minutes between students and you're already stuck in this boring practice room with nothing around you to look at or play with, you get your very best practicing done? It's not that you actually intend to develop your own artistry in dribbles of 20 minutes at a time. Maybe you have a great intention about practicing for 2.5 hours today, but sometimes that little gap between one student and the next, when you have nothing better to do, is great practicing. I have noticed that day upon day can pass me by, and I'll think, ugh, I'm not getting anything done. And I will get all excited to time track my time and figure out where my time is actually going. Once and for all, I will understand my own time management. And the thing that I discover when I do a time audit is that it is very easy to track the time that I spend teaching or coaching or in rehearsals or even practicing, because that is time that I see on my calendar and I know exactly what I'm doing during that time. I am fully present if I'm coaching online or if I'm recording a podcast interview. I know what I'm doing and I can write down in my book 1 hour teaching. But the problem is the sort of slushy time that happens between those things. What am I actually doing during those times? Often I'm just fiddling around on my phone. Often I'm wandering around downstairs. I'm getting myself a snack. And while getting a snack has value, while perhaps letting my brain decompress for a moment of complete non-presence, fiddling around with my phone. I'm not going to say there's no value in that, but I am going to say that it's amazing the number of things I can get done in the dribbles of time between other things if I just have an intention that I need to get them done. To look at it another way, if I have an entire day off, I could spend a lot of that day just kind of wafting around, knowing that I will get to the stuff eventually, and then I never really get to the stuff. And if I am busy, and if the only time I have during this day is those kinds of dribbles of time, those little tiny snippets, it's shocking how much I can do. I can sit down and record a little piece of content like this in 10 minutes if I actually set my mind to it. I can respond to emails and delete them out. I can put things on my calendar. I can call up my insurance company to report that they are mischarging me for something. I can do those things in 5 minutes, in 10 minutes, and I can knock them all off my to-do list so easily. My point here is not that you should use every second of your day in the pursuit of productivity. That is not my point. My point, I think, is that you do have more time than you think. How could you use it better? I know we all just default to being on our phone. Here's one of the ways that I think about those dribbles of time. I have a bullet journal. I keep it fairly obsessively. But I think the most important feature of this journal is my weekly to-do list and my daily to-do list. Each week, over the weekend, when I'm doing my CEO date, which you can hear more about on a different episode of this podcast, I compile a pretty extensive to-do list. And it is all things that I have some intention of doing during the week. It is not a, someday wouldn't it be nice to kind of list that lives someplace else. But on that list, I have things that I absolutely must do this very week. I must figure out my costuming for that concert next week. I must show up for all of my actual appointments at the time that I have said that I will. I must send out these emails and create this content. The things that I put on the list, I intend to do. But every day looks different for me. The schedule of things that are actually on my calendar changes all the time. I might have a meeting, I might have a coaching, I might have a lesson, I might have a rehearsal, I might have to drive my child around. Every day is different. So the night before, as I am winding down for bed, I set up my journal for the next day and I write down what are the things that are actually on my calendar and what is on my to-do list. Sometimes I'm going to do my banking because tomorrow is Wednesday and Wednesday is the day where I do my banking. And over the course of the day, I will probably get that done. But I try to limit myself to only one or two actual big priorities that I must accomplish during the course of the day. And then I write down a whole bunch of little stuff. And over the course of the day, I look at my energy. I look at my actual energy. What do I have time for right now? What do I have the bandwidth for right now? What do I have the spoons for? What is my creativity making possible for me right now? So over the course of the day, I pay attention to what my energy feels like it's good for. If I feel like I have good energy to sit down in a chair and really work on crafting a piece of content, on designing something, on writing, then I do that. If the energy that I have is more like, okay, maybe I can power through a few emails before I collapse, then I do that. If I get to the end of the day and I have not done everything on my daily to-do list, oh well, it's not a problem because there's more days in the week. I'll just kick them back to the weekly to-do list, or I will just cross them off because I haven't done them, and I'll put them on tomorrow's to-dos as instead. At some point during the week, I will have good energy for both the big things and the small things that I need to get done. But the small things can fit anywhere. They can jam in between stuff. They can happen with me sending an email from my car after I arrive a little bit too early for the gig. They can happen between students during the day. They can happen late at night before I go downstairs and collapse in front of the television and watch Colbert. Or they could happen first thing in the morning, early. There are so many ways to get small tasks done, especially if you are not too rigid about when and how they must get done. I share all this not to say that you must devote every minute of your day to the relentless pursuit of productivity. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your energy is just sit down and not do the things. And I promise I will talk about that idea in a future episode. But if you have, like all of us have, an endless to-do list of small things, busy things, things that have to get done, but they're not exciting, and you don't really want to devote your actual productive hours to them because it's just sending an email here or puttering around a little bit here. Why don't you explore where in your day those things could just fit between things? If there is a moment in your day when you are reaching reflexively for your phone to play just a little bit more Candy Crush or a little bit more whatever your particular addictive app of choice is, maybe take a moment and consider, could you do another small thing? Could you make use of that time? Could you make a list? Could you send an email? Could you text someone that needs to be texted? That is what you might do with your dribbles of time. This has been a Happiest Musician Minisode. You can follow these short videos here on YouTube. Subscribe if you wish. I hope you will. Or, of course, you can listen to them in your podcast app of choice under the Crushing Classical name. And if you would like to reach me to order a copy of my book, The Happiest Musician, or to see what it might be like to work together, that is a thing that is always available to you through my website, jennetingle.com. Stay safe out there. Have a great day.